Hi everyone, how are you all? How is everyone doing? Can you just say a short message on the chat so that we know you are there? Hello, Ankur Bagiji. Hi, Ms. Shikha, Anirudh. Hi, Sheetal. Hi, Ditya. Hello, everyone. Can you just also please write the city that you are from? It will just be a good encouragement for all of us. Thank you for coming in for this beautiful message of heartfulness. We're just going to take maybe one more minute to let everybody settle in, join, so that we can start ahead with today's webinar. Thank you. We have people from Bhopal, from Delhi, from Jalandhar, from Gujarat, from Kuwait, from Pune. We have from Dubai, from Kolkata. We have a quite varied crowd from everywhere, from all over the country and abroad. And thank you all for joining today, and hope today's session really adds value to you. We have friends from Uganda as well. Thank you so much for joining. So friends, let's start. And let's start. Today is a bit of a different topic that AdmitKard is bringing to you. It is not AI or ML or any technical subject, but it is something that is much more core to us as humans. In the time of this lockdown and COVID-19, we're all going through a large amount of stress of getting isolated from our social network. And I think at this time, it is very, very important for us to hear what the panel has to offer us today. So friends, I'm very excited to bring to you our webinar today with Mind the Heart with Heartfulness. And today's webinar is presented to you in association with Young Indians Noida chapter of CII, and AdmitKard, of course, is your proud presenter. As just a quick introduction of ours, we are an organization, a platform that helps students to study in universities abroad with the help of our AI technology, as well as our mentors who are students who are already studying abroad in these international universities. We have about 500 of such mentors from more than 200 universities around the world who have held more than 1 lakh aspirants and achieved 2,000 dreams over the last 2 years. And dreams have been going to some of the top universities around the world. And hence, I think this has been our passion to stay connected with the education ecosystem, and we keep coming back to you with more and more, value-adding sessions like these. So, friends, today I would like to share with you our message and our panel. So I would just request the panel to please turn their camera on so I can, just introduce you all as well. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being part of this. So I'll just introduce our esteemed panelists today. We have Mr. Sanjay Sehgal. He's the chairman and CEO of MSys Group, comprising of MSys Technologies, MSys Training, which is North America's leading professional certification training providing company, and Mobinius, India's leading digital transformation and mobile app development company. Mr. Sanjay has been profiled in numerous awards, and he has been recognized as most innovative digital transformation CEO in 2019. He was also honored with TIE Atlanta Top Entrepreneur Award for 2018 and was invited to speak at Web 2.0's Summit Leadership in 2019. He is also the board of advisors of prestigious Sankara Group of institutions at Gudur, Nellore. He is part of board of trustees of Heartfulness Education Trust, and that is why he's here to share about what Heartfulness Education Trust is doing for the education and student community. Also, Sanjay indulges in avid passion for philanthropy with his association with Heartfulness and manages their global digital initiatives. We heartily welcome you, Sanjay, and we hope to hear some great inspiring words from your side.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We also have Dr. Elizabeth Denley. She holds a doctorate of philosophy in biological sciences from University of Sydney, Australia. Elizabeth has been involved in values and ethics education and training since 1996 for both children and adults, with a particular emphasis on communication and teamwork. Since 1999, Elizabeth also worked with international companies as managing director for the Australian operations of two global IT companies with their main development centers in India and subsequently her own consulting business. She is a mother of two, a musician, a writer, and spends much of her time these days working on publications for Heartfulness. Welcome, Elizabeth, and we are really looking forward to your meditation session as well today. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Piyush.
From amongst the people who have been starting the whole journey of Heartfulness, we have Dr. Bhavani Shankar Subramanian, who is a senior principal at Lalaji Memorial Omega International School, Chennai. He is an alum of the University of Madras and Medical University of South Carolina, USA. He's previously served as the principal of Chettinad Vidyashram, Chennai, prior to working with Elmois in October 2018. He has a proven record of success working across organizations, engaged in academic research, both post-secondary and K-12 education. He's an accomplished academic with research and management qualifications. We welcome you, Dr. Bhavani Shankar, and you have implemented the whole message of Heartfulness at your school, and your practical insights and how the students have benefited would really encourage all of us today. We are very, very happy to have you here.
Thank you, Piyush.
Apart from our today's panelists, we have our dear mentor, Mr. Dheeraj Bhatia, who has not just been encouraging, but has been supporting in this whole journey of AdmitKard. Mr. Dheeraj Bhatia is an educator, entrepreneur, angel investor, and a management consultant. He's the manager and director of Educ Learning LLP and was formerly the co-founder of KIPS Learning Solutions Private Limited, which is India's leading publisher of school computer books and digital interactive tools, which is used by more than 6,500 schools and over 5 million students in India and Middle East. He has done his Bachelor of Computer Science from Kurukshetra University and has been associated with Global Students Program from Harvard Graduate School of Business. He is a certified cybercrime investigation officer, and at AdmitKard, he plays the role of chief mentor for our School Connect program. We welcome you, Dheeraj, and thank you for taking out time and inviting such a prestigious panel for today's discussion. And quickly introducing myself, I am the co-founder of AdmitKard, and I'm happy to bring more and more such valuable sessions to all of you. And also the magician behind the scene, Charul, who helps us organize. Thank you, Charul, for being part of it. Over to you, Dheeraj, so that we can start the session and we can, the audience does not need to wait anymore. So you need to turn your microphone on.
Yeah, thank you, Piyush, and I hope I am audible.
Yes, Dheeraj, please.
Okay. While we were finalizing the agenda for this webinar, normally we had been doing our webinars based on technology and online learning. But overall, as we are evolving, we need to have a broader perspective to our life. And when we talk about our life, inner peace, Sakoon, is the most important asset of our life, without which all the material things, they are of no value. That is where we requested Heartfulness team and respected Sanjay ji, and he was kind enough to have all his worthy team members over here with us. So we are living in times of rapid changes and trying to adapt to the changing circumstances. Many of our institutions and especially our education system, they evolved in earlier times to meet different needs than those which we face now. We need to seriously rethink our current model of public education, which was developed in 18th century primarily for the economies of the Industrial Revolution and was based on a mass manufacturing model where children were processed in batches according to age and evaluated against one common quality control standard, that is exams. At that time, it happened to be a revolutionary model as it was a first attempt to bring education to everyone. And we should be grateful for that. Otherwise, formal education would have remained with the elite few. While that model has been continuously refined, right, the fundamental assumptions, they have not been changed. But there is one critical component of 21st century education that was not there in earlier times, which we call as the big elephant in the room, and that happens to be the technology. According to a study conducted by AC Nelson, the premier consulting company, the number of hours children spend these days in schools is less than half the hours they spend being educated by media sources. In fact, the media is by far the leading educator of children today in many countries. And what sort of education do children receive from media? Primarily internet and television? Yes, there are many wonderful learning resources, but you all can also very well imagine about the negative aspects also. Before media education happened, the number of children exposed to chronic consumer culture, violence, drug abuse, murder, and pornography were limited to their families and maybe their social circle. But now, with this media education, this exposure has become a new normal for all the children, irrespective of the values and lifestyles of their families. So the question is what values we are imparting to our children through media education and how we need to address that the positives they are enhanced and the negatives are reduced to the bare minimum. So the challenging time of media education require an ongoing holistic learning system, and that's where I felt heartfulness way of education comes into the picture. Because the heartfulness way of education believes that every properly educated child is an opportunity to change the world for better. And that is where we will look forward to listening from Dr. Elizabeth and Dr. Bhavani Shankar, who are pioneers in this field in India and so many other countries. We also have the privilege to have with us a very diverse view from a tech savvy Mr. Sanjay, who is keenly involved in all the activities of heartfulness and is also my gateway to heartfulness. So before we come to Dr. Elizabeth and Bhavani Shankarji, I will ask Sanjayji to come and let us know. I have experienced heartfulness at a very different level, but many of the people who are not able to understand meditation, right? Sometimes they ask that meditation is doing nothing. So with this, I request Sanjayji to come and enlighten us with his views about how meditation can change our outlook and thought process in life. Sanjayji, over to you.
Thanks, Dheeraj, for this wonderful introduction of all of us and also heartfulness. I hope you all can see me. Yes, hi. I am. You'll see the morning time here. I'm joining from Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I live. Very nice to be here. Thanks a lot to Dheerajji and Piyushji from AdmitKard for organizing this, for us to be able to present something that is very dear to our heart. Now, Dheeraj was telling me that I'll ask you a tricky question. So now I know what the tricky question is. Question is that meditation is doing nothing. So what do you actually do? Yes, it's, doing nothing is very hard because you never know when you're done. And I guess maybe it is this feeling that has making me do this for the last 30 years that I have been practicing heartfulness. So I think in short, or to convey the meaning of heartfulness, it's all about living from the values of the heart. Heart is something that is referred to in every other sentence, every other movie, song, every other book, every other thing that we ever read in our lives, but it's hardly implemented in our daily lives. And to me, heartfulness, the practice of heartfulness, that's what it brings to you. Brings you the message of joy, brings you the feeling of joy and purpose that is missing in today's world. Now, before I go a little bit more into heartfulness, I'll tell you a couple of things that we all should perhaps may have heard already, but if not, it'll be first time you'll be hearing. According to World Economic Forum, remember two numbers they talked about. One number was 700 million or 700, other number is 800. 700 million people are in the world in 2018 were suffering from mental disorders. And about 800,000 people, that is 8 lakh people, commit suicide, die of suicide every year. And that is a bigger number. Now, I know it is very sad to be talking about death and all in today's time when we also are hearing so many people suffering from corona or dying out of corona. But just compare the number. We are here all so much worried about a number of, few thousand dying out of corona. Not that that is, I mean, that is good or anything, but 800,000 people are dying out of suicide, committing suicide. That number, they say, is larger number than combined numbers of all the wars, all the epidemics and everything else that makes people die unnatural death. So that is a big problem that we are seeing. Other intriguing thing is that 75% of these people who suffer from mental disorder out of 800 or out of 700 million that I mentioned are under the age of 24. And about 50%, they, by the age of 14 years, they have one of these mental disorder symptoms. So this problem is huge around us, and that's what this problem is, you can say, is the result of doing so many things. So when we talk about meditation is doing nothing, see what doing so many things that brought us to, in my understanding, we are, of course, we are in the times of corona, we are talking to all of you, but there is another invisible war that we are fighting. And that invisible war is because of the lifestyle that we are living. Now, Dheeraj mentioned that today's education is not coming from the teachers or from the books, but coming from the media. And what is it giving to us? It is taking us away. On one hand, we have all this joy and peace and so many things of luxury available to us. Other hand, we have this unimaginable suffering. I'll share some personal experience with you all. A couple of years ago, my father was diagnosed of cancer. He was staying in Bangalore. So I happened to be with him during his last few days, and I am very grateful to that time that I spent with him. But I also learned some new things during that time. There was a hospice doctor, because my father was in the last stage. So a hospice doctor used to visit every day to provide him some comfort by adjusting certain things that were being, that he was being given. And so I would talk to him after that. He will spend a few minutes with my dad, and then we will talk. And I was asking him that, you have a very difficult job here, because perhaps you're going to people's homes and people already know they are going away. I mean, these are the last stages of their life. He said, Sanjay, I can manage this because everybody is already prepared that their near or dear one, like in your case, your father, is going to leave very soon. But he said, my toughest job is when I visit a household to take care of a small child who is diagnosed with some mental condition, and I really cannot help him. He said, I go to the house, the room, the guy is, has a phobia of light, let's say as an example, is sitting in one corner. Only thing I can do is give him some kind of sleep medicine, sedative, that makes him sleep, rest for a while. He said, I feel so sad because I know this is not going to cure him, not going to help him, and he's so young. Now, this is the time, this is the invisible war that I'm talking about, where so many people, young people in the world, are being misguided by everything around us. Now, where heartfulness took upon itself is to impart this kind of, or a heart-based joy and purposeful life to these children. Now, we have been able to do it in few, but a lot more needs to be done. So it is something I would, end my answer to this question or my session here by saying that, it is something, a request, a call to all of you. Because unless every member of the society takes it upon himself or herself to be able to make this a purpose for their life, that how do I make the lives of our young generation full of joy, full of peace, full of heartfulness based values, I think the world will not turn into a better place that we all want it to be. Dheeraj, I hope I have answered your question, but that's, I think, what I wanted to share in this segment. Charul, there is also a very special message, our guide of heartfulness. He recorded for us, all of us today, because there are so many educators who have joined here, and we would like to play that message for all of you, and hopefully that will further enhance your understanding of heartfulness and what it is doing for education.
Greetings to all students,
Greetings to all students,
teachers, and
teachers,
parents.
and parents.
We all, without an
We all,
exception,
without
are
an
learning
exception,
these new trends
are learning these
and how
new
to
trends
adapt.
and how to adapt.
It is all about adaptability.
It is all about adaptability.
Facing these new challenges, it
Facing
requires
these new
wisdom
challenges.
at each
It
level.
requires wisdom at each
No
level.
Oxford class or no
No
Harvard
Oxford
classes or no IIM
Harvard
or
classes
IIT
or no IIM
can
or
prepare
IIT
us
can prepare
to
us
face
to
these new challenges.
face these new challenges.
We cannot teach everything at each
We
level,
cannot teach everything at each level,
but little by little, as we remove our layers of ignorance, allowing this inner light to ooze out from our system, when we remove these layers of ignorance, we become wiser. This wisdom helps us in a great deal, more than thinking, more than intellect. This wisdom helps us when we close our eyes and center ourselves and invoke the deity, whoever is most revered to your heart. Invoke that deity's inspiration, deity's strength, deity's energies. Allow it to come to your heart. Center yourself. Express your problem heartfully. Not that you'll have immediate solution, but I'm sure within a day or two, or sometime instantly, you might have that, flash. Yes, I found a solution. This is applicable to all students, parents, staff members, admin, you name it. Anytime one would like to find a solution to a problem, best is to center oneself. How you do it, it's up to you. Of course, we also have means of how to arrive at it. The heartfulness way of meditation helps us. Not that I forcefully recommend it to all, not at all. But I have confidence, I have this inner experience, and many parents who have felt it, that yes, meditation done in some way can calm us down, help us sail through the stressful situation, help us become lighter and still. It is only through this peaceful heart that one can become creative. Is this not what we want in life? Creativity all the time. Creativity under all kinds of situations. Creatively moving into greater dimensions. Is this not our goal?
Nice. So, Dheerajji, I think that's what I wanted to share in this segment. Should we invite Dr. Denley to talk about our Heartfulness Way curriculum and she has been at the forefront of bringing this curriculum out for the last several years. And I think this is a video also she would like to show to all of you to introduce that curriculum. Over to you, Dr. Elizabeth.
Thank you, Sanjay Bhai. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here with you and to share something about what Heartfulness Education Trust has been doing in the education sphere, basically for the last 30 years, building gradually. But let me start with something going back even further, thousands of years. So Sanjay Bhai mentioned this idea that the statistics, the WHO, that the World Economic Forum gives on mental health and depression, that the two mental health issues that are the biggest of all are depression and anxiety. Anxiety even more so than depression. Clinical anxiety, clinical depression. He also mentioned the suicide rate. And it's very, very clear, doctors know it, that allopathic medicine, Western medicine, has not been able to handle mental illness very well. Whereas India, historically, is the country of this. I'm sure many of you have heard of Swami Vivekananda, the great Swami Vivekananda. One of his disciples was a woman called Margaret Noble, or Sister Nivedita, an Irish teacher. And one of her quotes is that India is the land of psychology. And you might ask why this, because how many psychologists do we find in India per capita? But where we find this incredible knowledge of psychology, of mental well-being, of being able to create mental wellness, stemming from the heart, not stemming from the brain, is in the field of yoga. And just so you're aware, heartfulness education, heartfulness in schools, heartfulness practices, which you're going to experience later on, originate in yoga, and this idea that you create balance inside yourself first. When Sanjay was talking about why do we meditate, unless you develop a relationship with yourself, unless you're able to turn inwards and understand, how do I feel? What is my heart saying in any situation? As a small child, as an adult, as the CEO of a company, as a teacher also, then you're stuck. You have no relationship with yourself. And this we develop through meditation, through prayer, through introspection, all the meditative techniques that we learn in Heartfulness. And the thing that's critical in all this is that if you don't learn these as a child, if this is blocked from you as a child, where all our subconscious programming happens, it's very much more difficult to do it as an adult. So in Heartfulness, we start at an early age so that we can help children retain this innate ability to listen to their hearts and to therefore be guided by that rudder of their conscience, which comes from the heart and which the brain then follows. The mind follows by actively living out, thinking and doing the things that the heart's saying. So this is Heartfulness. It's learning to connect on that level, because the heart never lies. The heart will always tell you when something's wrong. It won't necessarily tell you when something's right, but it will tell you when something's wrong. You can listen, you can develop this capacity to guide your life according to your conscience, according to your values and ethics in the right direction. Values and ethics are not something imposed from the outside when you meditate. They are in society for most people because we don't have a choice. But in Heartfulness, they come from within here. So what we've done in the schools program, and this started, like I said, 30 years ago, but especially it started in earnest with a very well-developed value-based activity, interactive pedagogy at the Lalaji Memorial Omega International School in 2010, when we started working as an international team to develop this program, the curriculum which now we've rolled out into schools across India and across the world. Can we have the next slide, please, Cheryl? Okay, we'll look at this video first.
When students who will one day become the citizen, they have no clue what they are heading into. Children go into depression, anxiety. First, we have to start training them into thinking what is the realistic goal in their life.
So the Heartfulness Way Schools program started way back in the late 1980s.
Help means heartfulness experience of life's potential. How do we experience and how do we know the life's potential of one's own individual?
We want to give them basic life skills so that they can make decisions for themselves. They can feel good about themselves. They can develop self-compassion.
Something has failed, so something has to come. It is not that we want to change the entire school system or education system. We want to add something.
Our school's curriculum is based on the 9 core UN values, which are universal in nature.
I have written letters to all the principals, all the colleges. On teleconference we have told them this is a good program which is going to help these students.
We got together a team of PhDs in value-based education, occupational therapists from around the world to bring the latest in educational pedagogy.
Wholeheartedly, how the profession of a teacher can be shifted to student-oriented.
In this endeavor, we are now looking at various digital platforms so that we may exponentially scale this program.
I think yogic methodologies that we have been gifted with, it's time that we make use of these methods where the world can look upon India and say, yes, there is spirituality still in the world.
Elizabeth, you'll need to turn your microphone on.
So that's given a very good overview. Can we just go to the next slides, please? We'll quickly go through these. So heartfulness approaches things first from the level of the teacher, because if a teacher doesn't have these skills, how are they going to share it? How are they going to transmit this understanding to students? So a lot of our work is with teacher training, and we've done that across many states of India now with lakhs of teachers, and we're starting to see the effects. In Andhra Pradesh, for example, when we compare the areas with and without heartfulness practices amongst the teachers, we see the suicide rate drop considerably with students who are practicing heartfulness. Next slide. Cheryl, next slide, yeah. The second is the students themselves. And ideally, the job of the teachers is to enable students. When Dhiraj Bhai was speaking about the new models of education that need to come, it's student enablement models that we're after in heartfulness. This is the pedagogy, because who knows what jobs are going to be even next year after COVID. If COVID's over by next year, will the economy still be the same? Will the job situation still be the same? Probably not. We have no idea. I don't think any economist today understands what we're going to find after this current situation we're in. So we can't fill students only with knowledge. We need to prepare them for adaptability, for neuroplasticity, for flexibility, which are all the qualities that have been shown very, very clearly through scientific studies that develop with meditation. Holistic development, what we call yogic development in ancient Indian culture. Next slide, please. This also involves play. Students, when you understand how the senses and brain development happens, it's not just through academic learning. There has to be an element of movement, of coordination, of development of the senses as well. And this is all done through the heartfulness curriculum as well, through activity-based learning. Next one. And the whole idea is to engage the whole school, not just individual teachers or students, but to develop these qualities of joy and mutual trust and respect in classrooms, to create that environment of loving education. Think back to your own childhood. Think of the teachers who you remember most from your childhood. Were they the ones who knew the most? Generally not. They were the ones who drew out your own capacities, which is what the word educare, education, means, to draw out capacity from the student. Who develop compassionate consciousness in students, who help them to develop emotional intelligence, resilience, which is something we need very much today, and also ethical intelligence, the ability to make right decisions going forward, but especially to create a loving learning environment. Next slide. So we have these programs around the world. This is just a group of university students in Madagascar. And this was one of the earliest programs that was done outside of India. This is a few hundred students in a college in Madagascar, all doing heartfulness meditation. In fact, the government, local government there, has adopted this in government schools across the island in Madagascar. Next slide. And just to show you an example of students in India. You know, a lot of people think, oh, how will kids sit and close their eyes, do relaxation meditation? Initially, there's a bit of movement and jiggling, but very quickly kids get it. And when they learn to relax so that they get out of that stress response that's responsible for anxiety, for depression, and learn how to manage their emotions, then we see changes. Then we enable these students with what I would call a hard skill. It's as much a hard skill as technology is in the modern world. Learning to meditate is a hard skill that gives you the capacity to manage your own emotions, to manage your own life. So thank you. I think now it's time to hand over to Dr. Bhavani Shankar, who's going to give you the experience of having run these programs in the school, Balaji Memorial Omega International School in Chennai, and hopefully give some practical hands-on tips to you as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lizzie. So, pranams to everyone who has joined us on today's webinar. It has been a wonderful journey for all of us at Omega. So I would be sharing a couple of slides as I speak so that the journey of Omega is captured. But in a sense, the purpose of engagement is to cherish the unconditional, abundant love, care, concern, and empathy that the Heartfulness way shows to all of us. As it was clearly identified as different from the use of mind by Sanjay Bhai. The purpose is to guide all our practices through the essential soul that is taught to reside within all our hearts. And what Omega has done is to be the research and development center for the long journey that has taken Heartfulness to be a wonderful program that it is now. Enormous thanks and pranams to our revered masters, Master Daji, Master Chariji, who was our founder and the guiding force of Omega. It all started in the year 2005. I'm just going to share my presentation with all of you. And as I share the presentation, I'll take you through that journey. I'm sure you're able to see the presentation. Mr. Piyush, if it's all right, please give me a go ahead.
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just offering my pranams to the revered masters and the guiding lights of Omega, Pujya Shri Lalaji, Babuji, Chariji, and of course our Daji. We started this exercise as early as 2005. That's when a small school by name Balvatika, because of a very conscious practitioner, emerged into the vision of Lalaji Memorial Omega School. The February 25th of 2005 was the start. And over the years, the founder, Pujya Shri Parsarthi Rajgopalachari ji, who was also the guiding force behind the school, felt it necessary to have a vehicle to practice the values curriculum that was given away through the MHRD to the NCERT at that point in time. The decision was to look at focusing on secular human values and to connect with self through the soul. What happened was that there was a very clear indication to take the values proposal on a secular platform, and therefore the connects with the core UNESCO's values, human values, were taken up. We had a large group of researchers at that point in time. Elizabeth Denley was, of course, a very important person there who developed the curriculum for all of us. Of course, there was Liz Kingsnorth, there was Rosemary Kanji, Brother Krishna, who was at that point the chairman of Omega International School, and of course, our founder and master, Chariji. With their guidance, we were in a position to translate these efforts into what we then called the Navaratnas, based on the core human values of UNESCO. Of course, we tweaked it a little bit to take the fundamental aspects. You would see that truth and wisdom, love and compassion, peace and justice, sensitivity and creativity, self-awareness and self-management, environmental morality, health and nutrition, citizenship, and above all, we place spirituality. Why we did this was to engage all the students, irrespective of their affiliations and beliefs in various religions, to engage as one common large body of joyful youngsters to seek to learn from within, to understand and appreciate from within, and to resonate what their soul guides their entire mind and body to act. This was the essence over which the current program of Heartfulness is based, and it's getting morphed by the day. And we are very fortunate that all of us at Omega are given this wonderful opportunity to test us on the field. What happened is that through these years, as Elizabeth Denley said, that it was around the 2009-2010 when there was a very clear focus on the values curriculum, and there was a need to bring this to all the core practices of the school. You would understand that, most places the focus is on intellectual cognition or intellectual metacognition. There's so much of weightage given to the scholastic abilities of the students. In this entire process, the trade-off is that the psychosocial dimensions don't seem to get the right kind of fillip that they truly deserve. In short, the psychosocial dimension is always kept at the backbone. Our effort was to ensure that the psychosocial dimension is cognitively used, made sure that the intellect works with the heart in trying to realize the purpose of the life that ought to be as the citizens emerge out of the school. See, over the first 10 years of the school, what happened was that several initiatives that took shape primarily focused on what was achievable through the then Millennium Development Goals, which morphed into the Sustainable Development Goals over a period of time. The focus, of course, which was, as an example I'm pointing out, could be taken very easily, was to look at the morality towards the environment and to preserve nature. Any initiative towards sustaining the environment was supported largely by the efforts of UNESCO and the United Nations Academic Impact Zone. Over that time, we started a club called the Gaia Club in recognition of the goddess Earth. And through several foundations, you would see a whole number of bodies that were associated with the school to take through an effort on sustaining the immediate environment. Now, one such experiment that was taken up was to underpin all of this learning through the core subjects of science. We were quite successful at that point in time to lead these groups to make meaningful contributions. Interestingly, most of these, although they were teacher-led at the start, slowly but steadily started becoming student-led and peer-led groups. These are some of the pictures that I have which outline what happened through the first 10 years. We had a huge lesson in the year 2015. You would understand that most of Chennai was under floods, and interestingly, we were written off at that point in time. That's when we also had, our revered Chariji towards the end of 2014 attending Mahasamadhi, and it was a very, an year of change where our beloved Daji came to lead the efforts of the values proposal that were given through the Sri Ramchandra mission. And at the end of 2015, this deluge gave us a huge opportunity to restart. We had a whole school participation. We involved the local government, the panchayats, the community schools, and the NGOs. Values education proposals were revisited. New ideas proposed and piloted. For example, we created a vertical for environmental sustainability. We increased the capacity of recycling and regeneration. We did habitat studies. We took help from the National Biodiversity Authority. We created several microhabitats. We introduced a number of endemic species of plants and animals and engaged in organic farming. What happened is that from beginning 2015, there was a huge effort from our beloved Daji to take the values-based spiritual education as a heartful program, and therefore all our efforts morphed into moving ahead with the current practices that we have. Of course, Elizabeth Denley outlined what these practices are. In trying to realize some of these, we took up every year some student-led initiatives, and I would be briefly sharing you a presentation which would be a collection of some of what happened over last year. The spirituality we feel is a heartful practice. Elizabeth Denley told you at one point that this does not necessarily have a flip. And Sanjay Bhai at the start told you all that it is very difficult to do nothing. Meditation does quite a lot. It clears your mind so that the entire mind becomes a wonderful empty vessel. This is also because of a very clean vessel that resides holding the soul, which is the heart. Look at what happens to a very large populace. 700 million people every year getting affected mentally and having issues is no joke. About 800,000 committing suicides every year is again no joke. Let us start young, was the idea. If we had started young, we would have children who go through the raging changes of puberty, unable to understand what these changes are about, already in a self-regulatory mode, meditative in practice, reflecting, imploding, and introspecting as they move ahead, making sure that the responses that they give to their immediate community are well balanced and in tune with their inner self, only with abundant love, compassion, care, and empathy. The heartfulness values alignment is based out of the constant tweaks. It's pretty similar to what we were doing earlier. And I would like to tell you a small story that happened last year through a set of different slides. These are just the snapshots of what happened. So the students were in a position to collect a large amount of money. Interestingly, this proposal came from students that were marginalized, living in the border districts of Tamil Nadu, from Tiruvallur, where a school principal came to us and said that these children do not have the basic facilities needed to run the school. What they did was, this started about 5 years back, made sure that they would sustain a very small community's livelihood. These were potters, and asked them to make about 2,000 earthen hundis. These are like the piggy banks. These earthen hundis were brought to Omega. The first time it was brought was in the year 2014, towards the end of 2014. And it was given away by the senior students to children of classes 1 to 3. You would know that these children are phenomenal negotiators. Over a period of 1 year, each of these hundis had accumulated anywhere between 500, 600 rupees to about 4,000, 5,000 rupees. The first time these hundis were broken open after 1 year, the amount that we fetched to support the school was staggering. It was about 4.5 lakhs. And nobody knew that this money was collected. And this was a wonderful way for a peer educator leader group to tell the youngsters the purpose of demonstrating abundant love and care. And this started as an annual exercise, and it still continues. And we are very happy that every single year we have been taking up these activities with at least one marginalized school in the border districts of Tamil Nadu. Of course, there are other ways that the students have demonstrated their willingness to contribute to the community. They've gone ahead and shared their learning with the panchayat schools. The children of our school happily engage in peer learning exercises that move on to the local panchayat schools.
Dr. Bhavani Shankar, we're actually running short on time. We should probably move on to Sanjay ji.
Sure thing. So, I'm just closing. It's almost done. So, what we are currently doing now is through these lockdown times. So we took the message from a beloved master: do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. And through these lockdown periods, we have been able to demonstrate through the various activities taken up that we are in a position to draw out the purpose of heartfulness education at Omega. Thank you for a patient listening. And thank you, dear Master.
Dheeraj ji, you are on mute. Dheeraj ji, you'll need to turn your microphone on.
Teji, cannot hear you. Still cannot hear you. I think you're. I think in the interest of time, I think you had suggested that let's go to meditation by Sister Elizabeth. Sister Elizabeth, if you can, I know there are a lot of questions around. People are asking for practical advice. They have heard us enough. So I think if you could walk us through relaxation and meditation.
Okay. Thank you, Sanjay Bhai. So for those of you who are interested, this practice, the relaxation practice we generally do with children 5 years and over, or as soon as they're old enough to follow the instructions, simple relaxation, which we'll do first. And then following that, we'll do a short meditation. And this can be given to any students 15 years of age and upwards. Reason being is that they need to want to do it for themselves, have some level of emotional maturity. So relaxation for 5 years and up, meditation for 15 years and up. So I want you to all sit very comfortably wherever you are. Turn off your phones. Tell everybody around you to leave you in peace for 15 minutes. And when you're ready, either cross-legged on the floor or sitting comfortably on a chair or a sofa like I am, just close your eyes and try to relax. And now, bring your attention to your feet and feel the energy from the earth, from Mother Earth, coming up through the floor into your feet and starting to relax every part of your body as it moves up through your body. Let's start with the toes. Let the energy from the earth relax your toes. Now let it move to the rest of your feet, up to your ankles. Let it move up your legs. First your lower legs, your shins, your calf muscles, up to your knees. Now into your upper legs, all the way through your thigh muscles up to your hips. So that now your legs are relaxed. Now feel this energy from the earth moving up your back, from your tailbone all the way up to your shoulders, relaxing all the muscles along your spine as you go. Feel your back just gently dissolving into the seat behind you. And as you feel the muscle tension going, just let go of all tension in your body. Now move towards the front part of your torso, starting with your abdomen. Relax your abdominal muscles and slowly move upwards, your waist, up to your chest area. Feel your rib cage relax. Your breathing become very natural and slow. And up to your shoulders. Most of us today hold a lot of tension in our shoulders from work on the computer, on our smartphones, poor posture. So just give your shoulders a lovely break right now. Let them completely relax. Now feel the energy from the earth move down your arms, your upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, and hands. Let this energy ooze all the way out your fingertips so that your arms and your hands are completely relaxed. And now bring your attention to your neck. Let all the muscles in your neck relax. Move up to your jaw. Drop your jaw. Let go of all the tension you hold in your jaw. Now relax the back of your head and your facial muscles, starting with your chin, your mouth, cheeks, nose, ears, eyes, especially your eyes, because this is where we dissipate about 80% of energy during the day. Let them have another very nice rest. Let them feel especially relaxed. Move your attention up your forehead all the way to the top of your head. So now scan your system from top to toe and see if there's anywhere in your body where you still feel any tension or pain, or where you have an illness of any sort. Just let the energy from the earth rest there for a little while longer, relaxing that part of your body even more, helping it to heal. And when you're ready, bring your attention to your heart. Now that we've relaxed the body, we're going to learn how to relax the mind through meditation. So start to go deeper into your heart. Have the thought, the very gentle suggestion that the source of light that's already present in your heart is drawing you deeper inwards. Don't worry if you have other thoughts, it's completely normal. Just try to imagine them like passing clouds in the sky. Just let them go and gently come back to your heart again. Don't try and force your mind, don't try and concentrate. Be natural and very relaxed. And enjoy the experience. So once again, we're going to meditate on the source of light that's already present in the heart, that's drawing us inwards. I'll say that's all at the end. So please start meditation. That's all. Take your time. Scan your system again from top to toe. See how you feel, especially in your heart. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Dr. Elizabeth, for this wonderful training session. We are getting a lot of queries. Many people, especially children, they are quite hyperactive and they can't, relax, meditate, sit still for even for 2 minutes. How do we train them?
You'll find that they actually respond very fast. Initially, they'll jiggle a lot, they'll squirm, etc. But they actually respond to relaxation, even small kids, very, very quickly, because they feel the essence of the energy much more intensely than adults do. And you see how small children go off to sleep. They're awake and then suddenly they're gone. It's like that with relaxation, and then as they get older with meditation. It takes a bit of practice. Often with teenagers, they struggle to keep their eyes closed in the beginning, especially if they're anxious. But it doesn't take much time. And when you create that culture and they learn how to do it, and they see the benefits of that life skill, then it happens automatically.
Okay, thank you. Sanjay ji, as a layman, meditation, like all good practices, is also like a good habit to be formed. And initially the good habit formation, it really requires a little, you can understand what I want to say. So can you please guide us all that how we form this as a habit, as a good habit, which helps us? Sanjay ji, your voice is not audible.
Sorry, this time my microphone was off. I said, you may have heard that saying, fake it till you make it, right? And I think it does require time, but if you have the proper guidance, if you are working with one of our trainers, I think one of the things which perhaps we should inform everyone is, if you want to learn heartfulness meditation, we have a very active website with a lot of information. It's called heartfulness.org. There's a YouTube channel with a lot of videos on various guided practices. You can actually do it from your home, from the comfort of your home yourself. You can sign up for a master class that is there, and all that is there. And I think it is the best way to form habit is by doing it every day, right? And I think the uniqueness of heartfulness, is through its trainers. We have about 13,000 trainers all over the world of heartfulness. And they offer their time, money, effort, and training without charging anything. So it is perhaps the only yogic practice of meditation which is not converted into udyog. So yoga has not been converted into udyog as far as heartfulness is concerned. There's no commercial motive here at all. All these people, 13,000 or so, are willing to help people to learn this meditation. And by working with them, by taking sessions from them, similar to the one that Dr. Elizabeth gave today, you find it will be a lot easier for you to become regular than by doing it yourself.
So means we should go to the website and
find the nearest. There is on the website you'll find a place which says find a nearest trainer, right? And you can enter your address, or if you're on the mobile, it'll take your address and it will send email to the nearest trainer who's near you, and he will contact you after that, and he can set up sessions to walk you through this various practices of heartfulness. And after that you can start doing it yourself. But they continue to help you. It's not just one-time thing. They continue to help you, give you regular sessions. and that to me really helps you remain regular. I mean, that's how many of us had. I mean, we have been doing it for 30 years. I started in Atlanta 30 years ago, so we have trainers even 30 years ago. We had them in Atlanta, so many of them. So it's a very, I would say, loving, thriving community or heartful community of individuals which are there to help you, and then becoming regular becomes very easy.
That's really great. And I also saw that you also have an app. So what
Yes.
actually that app does and how it can benefit us all?
So the app is called Hearts app. You can again go to our website and you'll find a section you can download, or you can go to Android and iOS app stores, Play stores, and download it. It is the only app in the world out of all the apps which are there, which will help you connect with a live trainer anywhere in the world. I mean, I have myself between flights. I used to travel a lot in pre-COVID days. We call it BC, before Corona, and in those times I will be, let's say, traveling, and I'm at the airport stuck for 6-7 hours. I'll just open the app, and whatever the time is, somewhere some trainer is awake, and he will connect. I mean, it's like Uber of online Uber in a way. Uber still car has to come. This is an online Uber. A trainer comes online and conducts a session with you, just like similar to what Dr. Elizabeth did today.
That's really great. That's really great. And one query to Dr. Bhavani Shankar. Since you are implementing this Heartfulness curriculum in the school, what are the changes which you found in the school with your teachers, with your students, after you started implementing this? Again, sir, please unmute your...
I'm sorry. I should have taken the cue. I did not unmute myself. See, there are a number of changes. One is, we always feel that we need to catch them young. See, I would also resonate what Sanjay Bhai said. So, when we get started pretty young, the students get into a habit of internalizing that focus and making sure that they generate their own mechanism to release their internal stress. So whether we choose it as a particular practice which is aligned to spirituality, or whether it is aligned to pragmatism, is anybody's call. I would say, because of what it is able to do to the children are able to, number one, reflect better, understand what kind of mistakes they have made, acknowledge those mistakes, ensure that they bring the change with respect to their own misgivings. I would say the anger, the irritations, the frustrations, the disappointments. So, and the various distractions they have. The children are able to stay more focused. So, able to articulate their need in a very non-threatening mode. They're able to resolve the conflicts with one another in a very peaceful fashion, and able to be very assertive in a non-threatening way, and become better negotiators, because they end up getting the skills that are essential for an young adult very soon in life. I would say it's a great start if the children are taught the relaxation techniques very early through their schooling years. And by the time that they're about 15, 16, they are mature enough to understand that they need to have an internal circadian clock that tells them how to conduct themselves. Sooner than better. So always it's better to start young, and that's what we see as a result. The children that have graduated from the school have done remarkably well, and they have come back to us and say that how they are impacting the lives of their peers in a very meaningful way.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. And Dr. Elizabeth, I saw one query over there that they asked that does it improve blood circulation? So my query would be, what are the associated health benefits? Apart from that inner peace, what are the
Yeah.
associated health benefits?
Okay. So if you understand the field of epigenetics, scientific field of epigenetics, you will know that all disease starts in the mind. And because it's our mental state and the hormones coming from our mental state that switch on or off genes. And the stress hormones have a disastrous effect on so many things to do with our genetic expression, even at that level, even at the chromosome level. So when you're doing this on a regular basis, for a start, you're turning away from sympathetic fight or flight response, which is classic with anxiety, depression, fear, anger, stress, and you're turning towards a parasympathetic response, which is the calming response. It doesn't mean you become zombie-like or lazy, but what it does is you learn how to balance the two parts of your nervous system. So that when you meditate, both are in balance. The Sushumni Nadi of yoga goes directly up and down the spinal cord. And when these two, sympathetic and parasympathetic, are in balance, we find that we have a totally balanced central nervous system. What does this mean? It means that from the mind through the nerves to the rest of the body and through the hormones, we're in a state of inner balance and moderation. And what this does is it keeps our blood pressure in the normal range, our heart rate, our general hormonal balance. And as a result, it's a very beneficial thing even physiologically. Of course, you can't just meditate. You have to exercise, you have to eat well, you have to sleep well, all these things which are part of a heartful lifestyle. And what we do with students also is we don't just focus on meditation. We teach them about sleep cycles, about natural rhythms, about the importance of diet, nutrition. Health and nutrition is one of the important modules in our syllabus. All the natural cycles, etc. And so it's a way of life. It's integrating meditative practices in a daily routine that's in tune with nature. And the effect is remarkable. It means you're flowing with the current of the day instead of swimming upstream, basically.
Cannot hear you, Dheerajji.
Okay. Sanjayji, you have a wonderful system put in over there for an individual to get a training on heartfulness. How about a school?
Sure. So I think, yeah, I mean, the entire session was supposed to be on school. Of course, heartfulness is our core offering, meditation is our core offering. But, as far as schools are concerned, I would suggest, first of all, if everybody can note down an email, it is called education@heartfulness.org. And we also have a website for our education programs, which is at education.heartfulness.org. So remember that, or you can just Google search Heartfulness Education and you will find it. So see, we have multifold, it's a very spiral kind of a system for education, that it starts with the training of teachers. So far, our system, our Heartfulness education team has trained tens of thousands of teachers, not only in India, but also in United States. We have a training program called Inspire, because we want teachers to be the carrier of this message, because our heartfulness trainers will not be there with students on a day-to-day basis, right? So we train the teachers first. We have, even in these today's time of Corona, we are doing these trainings online now. And then we have a curriculum for grade 1 to 9, which is called the Heartfulness Way curriculum. That is from grades 1 to 9. That is implemented. We had launched that a couple of years ago formally, after so many years of research that you heard from both Dr. Elizabeth and Dr. Bhavani about. And now it is since 2 years ago, it has been implemented in about 300 schools in India and about 50 schools in the United States. And then we have a program called HELP, which is for high schoolers, grades 1 to 9, because that is a program, that is a place, time when they need to be taught life skills, how to take care of their lives. There are many organizations which feed the children. Then there are some which educate the children. Very essential. But what we do is very unique. It takes care of your investment that you have done in feeding and educating. Because unless you teach them how to take care of themselves before they enter the adult life, your investment in first two, it goes down the drain. Like, if they are in India, we were talking about high suicide rate, they may kill themselves. If they are in US, they may go to Walmart, buy a gun and kill others. Sorry to be giving extreme examples, not everybody does that, but that's what is today's the media or all these things are teaching us, right? So what our curriculum, high school curriculum, is designed for, specifically to train them in taking care of themselves, be prepared to enter the adult life. And I'm very proud to say that we have covered close to 5 lakh students with this program in many states, across many states in India. And then beyond that, we have a Heartful campus program for our college students. And that also, I think we have, hundreds of colleges where this Heartful campus program either has been implemented or is being implemented. So again, to get more information on this, you can send an email to us at education@heartfulness.org or go to our website, education.heartfulness.org. I hope I've answered your question, Dheerajji.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjayji. Thank you. Piyush, I will request if these email addresses can be put up in the chat box so that if someone has missed, they can also note it down. And before we end, I would request Dr. Elizabeth, your core message for all the enlightened audience that we are having today.
So I guess the most important thing you can learn to do is listen to your heart. Then no matter what situation you're in, you will have the answer. You will have the right solution to guide you forward. And to do that, you need to meditate. You need to have a contemplative mind. You need to be able to look within. It doesn't take much time during the day, just a few minutes in the morning, in the evening, and it will change your life. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Elizabeth. Piyush, I believe we have taken most of the queries, but since you and Charul were going through the queries, in case we have missed any of the query which you would like to ask our esteemed panel, so I will request you if we have missed on something.
So I think there was one very interesting query. I think with that we can close the session. Was that in today's times, actually, students are more willing to listen. But many times it becomes difficult to explain to parents, especially when we are, giving a message which is not telling their children to either be at the top of the class or run after money. So what would be your, suggestion on handling parents' queries when the message of heartfulness is being taught to the children?
I think it's pretty easy. If parents meditate, they'll understand. And if they don't, think of somebody like Steve Jobs, who dropped out of college, who never had any real formal education. Education is a much broader thing than academics. And if we're going to go forward in the world, every parent needs to understand this and listen to their children. Listen deeply and figure out what their children need. That's all.
I think that's a powerful example to also share, and I think it would answer the gentleman's query who asked.
And Sanjayji, one more query as a tech-savvy person. Many of the people nowadays, when they see their children hooked up to mobile gadgets, so they say that it's a lot of gadget time, screen time, which they are spending. So how can we reduce that, help them for a lesser and more effective screen time? Because in this digital world.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, had it been Daji, he would have said, stop using it completely. Now, my livelihood depends on technology. I will not say that, But I think, to me, I would suggest, parents to be the role models themselves in their children's lives. I think it starts with that, and I think often suppose we are at some place to talk about meditation. In US, often the Indian parents will come here and say that, meditation is very good, it's part of our culture, teach our children. So we tell them, they will learn from you. If you start doing it, it's being done at home, they will automatically learn. Same thing, these habits, and it is something that you have to inculcate. Parents have to spend time in inculcating. Now, we are entering a new era. Earlier, till in BC, we used to say, before Corona, we used to say that students are learning more from teachers than from parents. And now they are home. Guess where they're learning or whom they're learning from? Parents. So time has changed. Parents were complaining earlier, we don't get much time to, they are busy, this, that. Now is your time. I think you be the good role models for them and they will learn from you. You can create schedules and force them. Daji often talks about some experiments that you can ask them to do that, keep some of these germinating seeds or plants in various environments, of Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, ask them to do that, and then they will learn that what impact it has. There are some people we have seen, including my son. If he holds a phone for a very long time, his arm starts, becoming numb. These things are real. These problems are real. May not be happening to everyone, But just like Corona, the symptoms may not be for everyone. But if you have it, you have it, right?
Yes, definitely. And the essence means that as parents, we have to be leaders in the house, and as leaders, the best way is to lead by example. So we have to set the right examples for themselves. So over to Piyush.
So your mic is not turned on.
So I was just thanking all the speakers for today. The overall message from Mrs. Sanjay, from Dr. Elizabeth, for the meditation session, and for the practical experience from Dr. Bhavani Shankar. Thank you so much, everyone. It was a great pleasure having you all. I'm sorry we extended over time, but we did not want to cut short on a minute more of meditation, and we wanted to have the full essence of all your guys' experience. There are so many people who are downloading the app right now, and I would encourage all of you to reach out to the various teachers spread across the world and discover heartfulness in person, and encourage all of us to go through these tough times of lockdown and be more positive in life. Thank you all. This was brought to you by AdmitKard in association with Yuva Vertical of Young Indians, Noida. And from the entire team of Heartfulness. So thank you all for joining. Thank you all the members of Heartfulness, and we'll see you soon with more such valuable sessions. Thank you all. Bye-bye.